Welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live. My name is Monica Henderson, and I am going to be your conductor today for the show. Let's get this party started, shall we? Let's do it. Okay, so today's show, I have no idea why that says that. What it's saying?
I was wondering. I was like, what is life-based solutions?
And yeah, for some reason it's not working. Don't worry about life base. Not a big deal. But we have a very special show today, and Regina Curtis is my counterpart and co-host today on the show. And what we're talking about is how what's next for your spirituality. But while we do that, I want to make sure that you understand that you are part of this show too. So if you are watching this right now and you are watching this in the playback from the replays or whatever it is, we want your comments. So drop your comments. And if you do it while we're live, your comments will actually show up on the bottom of the screen, just like this. All right. So Regina, let's talk about what's next for your spirituality. Like this conference that's coming up, we are so excited about. And so just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super excited about this conference. We are going to be looking at how to align your business with your spirituality, the intersection between business and spirituality, which is something that I feel is not talked about in many spaces. So we're going to actually bring in some of the spiritual practices and concepts that you may have used in your life and bring in you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or even thinking of like, in your work, your sacred work, whatever that means to you. So today we're going to actually be meeting some of the speakers that are going to be presenting to you at this conference in a really tangible way. These are going to be interactive experiences. So I want you to get to know the amazing cast that's going to be presenting this experience to you. And Monica actually is our first, she's going to be our trainer. And so this is a conference unlike things you've ever experienced before, unless you've come to one of our conferences before. And we actually weave all of these pieces together, these interactive experiences. And Monica's going to be walking us through that process. So Monica, can you tell us a little bit about this experience and how it's different from other conferences?
Absolutely. So first of all, I'm excited that this is the first time that we're doing one specifically on spirituality, but not in the kind of way that you're used to spirituality being talked about, but more in a practical, tangible, grounded way, right? So there's all this conversation about like what spirituality is, and it's up here way in the high, and we're going to bring it all the way down to like, what can I do right now to be able to marry the two? And I'm excited because what I will be doing is running the training during the actual sessions, so that we are really kind of creating, they're called reflective workshops. And so we're actually going to take those action steps to create that space. And I'm excited to kind of be the first time facilitator in that way, and the first time having this conference as well. But I'm also really excited about this collaboration that is happening with me and Regina, as we have for the first time decided to pull the spirituality piece into the fold for entrepreneurs. So it's so exciting.
Awesome. So excited for this. We actually have some of our cast members here today too. And so we're going to walk you through some of the topics that we're going to be talking about and just give you a tiny taste of what we're going to be talking about. We do have two of our workshop facilitators that are coming to us from Australia, and it's crazy o'clock in the morning as we are presenting this to you right now. So the first one actually isn't going to be here with us today on the live preview, but I want to give you a little taste of what she's going to be talking about. So her name is Samantha Calvani, and I'm not sure I'm actually saying her last name correctly, but if I mispronounced it, I apologize, Samantha. She's going to be talking to you about sacred space. And sacred space in business is is essential, especially as an entrepreneur. So she's going to be really talking about what does that actually mean to create sacred space, and how do you bring that into your life and business. So I'm super excited to have her come and share that with us at the conference. And you'll get to meet her also in the live, in the challenge that we have coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we do actually have Elizabeth Shepley is here with us, and she's going to be talking to you about the second topic, which is devotional practice. So Elizabeth, welcome. Welcome to the stage. I would love for you to talk about what devotional practice means for you, and just give us a little introduction to you through how you've used devotional practice.
Devotional practice is the word workaround is coming up right now to self-discipline and all of the rigid structuring that I have been actively learning as I've reconnected with my own creativity and spiritual connections. The creative recovery that I have been on as a closeted creative or erratic, sporadic creative has developed into a full on spiritual awakening. And devotional practice started with thinking, I'm a writer. I should write every day because that's what they say, right? Who is they? And really questioning, like giving myself space and time and comfort to just sit in the questions without needing answers. And a little bit of allowance in that area allowed an expansion in what it means to show up for myself, to show up and listen for those wider connections.
Mm. Gorgeous. Yeah, that's amazing. I love having conversations with you about devotional practice and your practices and how you bring creativity into the fold in life and business, right? It really is an essential business tool. So I cannot wait to learn from your magic in this conference. Every time I learn from you, I expand in massive ways. So excited to have you here and to have you as one of the facilitators of this experience. So thank you, Elizabeth. And I actually am going to be a presenter here as well. And Elizabeth's and my sessions are going to be right next to each other. So right after you get to learn from Elizabeth, you get to learn from me as well. And I'm going to be talking about soul wisdom. And soul wisdom is really how your wisdom speaks to and through you, how you receive information from your intuition and from the world around you, and how you express that. And it is one of my passions. It is I used to actually use the title Soul Wisdom Mentor, and I've since changed it because I really am working with the rhythms of your seasons and cycles. But soul wisdom is essential as a business owner. It's how you show up in your business. It's how you receive information. It's how you take action. So we're going to be looking at that together, and I'm super excited to explore that further. Sandwiched between on the other side of me is actually Lisa. And Lisa's here with us today. And she's going to be talking about gratitude. And gratitude is a powerful tool. Lisa, gratitude, I think, it gets put out there in this like, oh, have a gratitude practice and be in gratitude. And it kind of gets kind of airy. Can you talk to us a little bit about what gratitude actually means for you? How would you explain gratitude?
When I was first introduced to gratitude, it was probably one of the worst times of my life. I was in the middle of a messy divorce, raising my kids full time that were, naughty toddlers. And I remember saying, what have I got to be grateful for? And my friend said, just try it. And I was very skeptical. However, you give me a challenge, I'm going to do it. So I literally just saw doing a gratitude journal as a challenge. And my life was so bad at that time. I literally would write things like, glad the sun come up today. And luckily I live in Queensland in Australia, so the sun pretty much comes up every day. But what I found was once I actually started to write down things I was grateful for and simple things that had no resistance to them, other good things started to happen, because what was happening was it was actually helping rewire the way I was thinking and showing up in the world. And I didn't realize until somebody mentioned it to me that they said, "Oh, you're not as negative as you usually are."
Mhm.
And so when you start looking at life as what am I grateful for versus what am I whinging about, your brain will actually start to rewire those neurons and those neural pathways. And, like attracts like. So if you're being grateful for something, even if it is as simple as, I'm glad I get to go to bed tonight and I have sheets on my bed. Something as simple as that can actually start to build that momentum towards greater things coming into your life that you actually want.
There we go. Beautiful. Thank you. And, one of the things that you were saying when you said you're not as negative as you used to be before, I immediately thought of like a bank account, right? A profit loss statement. So this is where we can bring these practices that we're so accustomed to using in our personal life, right, into our business. And imagine if you're using this practice not only to, share and change how you show up, but actually some physical things in your business too, right? This is the powerful combination that we're going to be exploring here in this conference. Thank you for sharing that story, Lisa. It really is like I've definitely felt that in my own life too at different points, both as an individual and in my business as an entrepreneur. It's definitely something that I think we all experience at some point. So excited to have you here and can't wait to share this experience with you. So after we experience gratitude with Lisa, we're going to explore spiritual language with Dawn Phoenix. And Dawn couldn't be here with us today on the live preview, but Dawn is an expert in translating and interpreting spiritual languages. She communicates with animals, and she really helps you ground into who you are and how you interpret the language that you're getting. So whether that is coming from your intuition, whether that's coming from the environment around you, whether that's coming through the interactions you have with customers. And she's going to walk us through that process and really help us explore that on a deeper level. And then rounding us out as the final part of our conference is Melinda. And Melinda, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome. Melinda is going to be talking about visioning and using the tool of visioning in our business and our spiritual practices. So, Melinda, what does it mean? What does visioning mean? Is this like sitting on a yoga mat and, creating something, like doing a vision board? What does it actually mean?
Yeah. Thank you, Regina, for asking that question. I think a lot of the words that we might hear in spiritual language or in spiritual speak might be confusing to many of us, or maybe we just have different ways of understanding, or the word might have the meaning might have gotten diluted from different ways of being used in the public language or in the media. So I appreciate just getting a definition. So the way that I'm thinking of visioning is you don't have to be on a yoga mat. You don't have to have, any special clothing or any training. The way I'm using this is it's really taking our ideas, our wishes, our thoughts, the things that we want in our life, from this place of invisibility, right? Because it's in our head, perhaps, or heart. So it's not visible with our eye in this 3D physical form. It's taking what's invisible and making it visible through a process of visioning. And I'm going to be walking everyone through that process in an easy and simple and fun manner. And then later we'll be able to apply that to different areas of our business.
Beautiful. I love it. That is really the process of manifestation in a nutshell, in a gorgeous nutshell. Thank you, Melinda. So, oh my goodness, this is so exciting. And I want to bring everyone up together so you can just kind of see this amazing cast that we have here. Everyone's here. We are going to be sharing this experience with you. And we are going to be doing this on March 5th. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in the US. And this is just some of the faces that you're going to get to see there. So here is what we're going to be talking about. Like I said, sacred space, devotional practice, soul wisdom, gratitude, spiritual language, and visioning. And how are you aligning your business and your spirituality? How are you using your spirituality to bring your business forward in a way that's supportive and nourishing for you? All right. So let's see, Monica, any questions that you have for us? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I just want to, because at this point in time, Elizabeth has not actually been a presenter on, but I believe you've been a part of the conferences before, right?
As a participant, yes.
As a participant. Okay, so I would love to ask you, like, what was your favorite part about being a part of the next global virtual conferences?
Easily, it was the space to do something in, like, we had the space to actually create some tangible next steps, to like reflect on all of this incredible wisdom and knowledge transfer that's coming in, to actually bring it in. And it's like right there, built in, no excuses, just get to work.
Yes, love that. I love that. And that is exactly the idea of this conference, right? It's not a talking head conference. It's not about who is going to talk at you, right? But it is a very interactive experience. Melinda, I know you were a presenter in the Life conference last month. Can you talk a little bit about that interaction and like how it felt to be a presenter that was also a participant in the experience as well?
Yeah, thanks for that question. This is a very different kind of conference for anyone who hasn't been to one. And I was pleasantly surprised and really had a lot of fun with being able to share my skills and expertise to my peers, basically, and also to receive from them. So there was this beautiful exchange of knowledge and energy. And also, like Elizabeth was saying, applying what we've received and putting it into action so that we walk away from the conference not just learning about something new, but actually, excuse me, in taking action, we're committing to our body and to our memory those things we learned, so that when we leave, we're retaining so much more than if we just sat in a conference and watched someone speak at us.
Yes. I remember when I was like starting to plan these events, I was like, I've sat in church many times and got a sermon and did nothing with it when I left. Right. And so, and I know so many people who have to go through that same experience over and over and over again and never changing. And unfortunately, this quote comes from someone who has been canceled at this point. But I remember going to a motivational, like, one of those conferences that were in those giant stadiums with all the people and all of the celebrity speakers. And I remember Bill Cosby, I know, I'm sorry, Bill Cosby getting on the stage and saying, listen, if you come to these over and over and over again and nothing changes, you're not doing it right. Right? You shouldn't have to come to these over and over and over again to listen to someone speak at you. You have to be able to do something with this information. And that little piece of kind of advice, even though the source sucked. But that actual piece of advice was one of the reasons why we created these conferences the way that we have, is so that you're not coming to this event ever hearing the same information being regurgitated at you and then just moving on to the next thing and needing to come back for that purpose. Each of these action planning courses, every time you come, it's a different experience every single time, and the experience it's not a like it's not at all a like sterile, like plain speak, like business forward experience. It's a lot of fun. And we're hanging out for 6 hours on Zoom. But I want to ask Lisa, because Lisa, you have had to do this at what the F hour in the morning as a speaker, for 6 hours in the middle of the night. Like, why do why do
Why do
you
you keep showing up?
keep showing up?
I just love being up at ridiculous o'clock. What can I say? Yes, that is correct. And when I presented at the Life Conference last month, it was from midnight to 6 a.m. And then I went to another workshop after that at 10 a.m. So by the end of the day, I was cactus. But what I loved about it was I actually got to 6 o'clock. And afterwards, when we're doing wrapping up, I didn't want to get off the Zoom call. We were having so much fun and I was so high on energy. I literally didn't want to get off. When I did get off, only because I knew I had to get some hours sleep before this next workshop, I couldn't sleep because we had had so much fun. And my favorite part about the conference was I got to actually do stuff as well as be a presenter. And I was in, I think, 4 out of the 6 sessions, but I still got to write down my action planning, my just statements. And so I got to be a participant as well as a speaker. And that doesn't happen. I've spoken at other conferences and you literally come out, you just speak, and then you walk off and you go home and you never really action anything that any of the other speakers have spoken about. You listen to them and you take on the wisdom. But at the next conference, we literally wrote things down. And if I go back and look at those, which I did last week, a lot of those things have happened. So it is amazing. Even if life gets in the way, just by showing up and taking part in all of what we do, your life is going to change, and it's going to change for the better. And this is what I'm speaking about: gratitude at the spirituality and business conference. What's next for your spirituality? Because everything that we do in our personal life will spill over into our business life. So that's what's so amazing about these conferences, and that's why I get up at ridiculous o'clock. It's currently 3:40 in the morning here, but I just love it. It's the energy alone will. Anyone in Australia, if you're listening to this, it is worth getting up. And I think this next one's actually a more palatable 2 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, totally get on board.
Palatable, yes.
I mean, I guess, right? That is. First of all, it's one of those things. I've been doing these for 3 years, right? It's 2020 is when we first kicked these off, and they were 2-day experiences and 7 hours a day on each of those days. So they were a little bit longer. And the first one, we had like one speaker who was international, but then since then we had different time zones that were represented, and we did them in Australian time zone, and we did it in UK time zone, and I will tell you, every single one, it was still an international experience, because people, when they did it in their own time zone, they were like, I don't care if I have to get up at whatever time to be a part of it. I will do it because it was so much fun. And I love connecting with the people. The people who show up to these events are absolutely amazing people. They're riveting. These are the attendees. These aren't even the people who are speaking, right? The attendees themselves are so like supportive and so much fun. And our chats are incredibly fun and live. So it's not just what's happening on the screen, but it's also the commentary that's happening in the background, which is why you want to see this event live, why you want to be in that space, to be a part of the conversation All I'm saying is we went down a whole rabbit hole in the Life conference about a stripper pole on a party.
On the fun bus.
And it was absolutely directly related to how we fix our lives. And when I tell you the laughter and the like intensity of like just the support and lovingness that came through that experience was so much fun. They laughed really hard because that was probably one of the highlights of the entire conference the last time was that last moment we were like, we got to get everybody in. Somebody's got to hang on the stripper pole. It was a whole thing. But anyway, so I say all this to say that I, one, just want to be in gratitude, right, of all of you for coming forward, for Regina for bringing this initiative forward for this conference to happen, but for all of you sharing your expertise and your experiences in such an open and free way for everyone to experience. And so if you are not sure that you're going to come and hang out with us at the next global virtual conference is what's next for your business, what's next for your spirituality, cover these topics, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You just need to come. And so you can go to www.nextglobalvirtualconference.com to be a part of that experience. One final thought, just from everyone really quickly, we have a couple minutes left. So what's your final thought? What is the one thing that they need to be ready for when they come to this conference? And I'm going to start with you, Regina.
Yeah. So come ready to take action, because this is not one of these virtual summits that you've been to before. I've been to all those summits too, where somebody's pre-recorded something and it's just popped in and you just see something kind of asynchronously. This is real people in real time giving real help. So if you have questions about things, or you're like, I'm working through this, you can actually come on. We have space for that, for you to come on to ask questions, for you to get real help in real time. And bring your weirdness. Bring it all. We are all celebrating and embracing our own uniqueness. And so if it feels weird to you, you're in the right spot, because this is exactly what we're doing here. So come as you are and come with your questions.
Love that. Lisa, what's the one thing you would suggest for someone to come to the conference?
Oh, look, when I first signed up as a speaker, what I did not expect was to find a tribe that I literally love interacting with every day. And, you know, this is why I get up at ridiculous o'clock. So for anyone in Australia, if you are thinking that you want something different for your life, this is the first next step for your life to completely change. And yeah, I'm just going to say, look, it's worth getting up at 2:00 in the morning to show up live. We all know that when we watch pre-recorded, or we get the recording afterwards, it's not the same experience, because you usually just got your AirPods in, walking around while you're cooking dinner. Show up live. And honestly, I've already booked my ticket to the States because I want to be on that party bus with that stripper pole.
We want you on it too.
Elizabeth, what's your one tip, one thing for someone who's interested in coming to this conference? What do you want to share?
It's be ready to receive. And that readiness is wherever you are, like Regina said, come as you are. Show up, give yourself the gift, you will receive.
Love that. And Melinda, what about you? What is the one thing that you want to share with them about this?
Yeah, I echo everyone's. And I think the one thing would be come with an open mind and an open heart. If you are watching this preview, or whether live or recorded, there's something here for you that's wanting you to find it. So take a leap of faith, come try it out, come sit with us, even if it's just for part of that first session. Just come and experience it, and you will be surprised with what comes through.
Yes. So there's nothing for me to say, because they have said it all. All that's left for you to do is to take the action. But I want to let you know that we will be having a 7-day challenge starting next week to be a part of this experience. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to nextglobalvirtualconference.com, and you're going to go down to the www.mindlife.com/spirituality conference. And you are going to sign up for the YouTube so you can see the actual challenge happening. We're going to come to you live on social media. So wherever you're watching this now, we will be here for the first 7 days before the conference to give you some pointers on how to tap in to this experience to the best of your abilities. Ladies, thank you so much for all being here today and supporting the vision that we're pulling forward, where everyone can live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. It's their birthright and they get to tap into it. With that, we're all going to say goodbye and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.